Hi, this is a documentary about the Asian culture here in Chile, especially Chinese, Japanese, and Korean culture. Well, China, Japan, and Korea are now three of the five main Chilean business partners, and at the same time, the three countries lead the Asian East region prediction in view of what the experts call the Asian century. The countries which finished World War II and were members of the periphery of the world order, destroyed by wars and revolutions, are now the spotlight of the international attention and power unit of the economic revolution's development and political, social, and cultural transformation protagonists. Okay, Japan, defeated and devastated during World War II, is now the second world economic power. And it coexists with big challenges because of its social structure transformation and millenary culture. China is predicting itself to be the kingdom of the media and is expected to be the first world economic power in 2050, challenging the USA hegemony. Korea, destroyed after a long period of colonial exploitation and the bloody Korean War, marked the international system and that meant the definitive separation of the nation in two. Now Korea is one of the countries which leads the digital economic indicators and it has spread with its economic and revolutionary transformations and now it's looking to deepen the process of democratization. Well, in this documentary, we went to the street and interviewed people about what did they think about the Asian culture here in Chile. And we got many different answers in which we based the parts of our documentary depending on the different answer that the people gave us.
What do you think about the presence of the Asian culture here in Chile?
I think that it has massified through the years with the internet media, and all this is good for the united of cultures. And mainly it is important to always learn something new about the other countries and their cultures.
Well, for me, any cultural expansion is interesting. I have always liked the Asian culture, but the culture topic for me is more important because East versus West are two opposite sides which can upgrade each other beyond the technological things in an ideological and cultural way that can add to us as a country the change to many thoughts and the acceptation of some things, diversity. And because of we having different cultures, it can be a complement for both parts.
I think that every perspective is good and every culture is valid, but it depends because, for example, the flights add nothing to the country, but we have culture diversity. So, diversity makes the country better and it's good to have different culture because it's boring to be all equal. God created us with different perspective, thoughts, and ways of dressing and everything has a purpose of life. It's good that people have their own definition. Like me, then I like the skateboard and I'm a skater. There are others who like Japanese anime, rappers, breakdancers, and here we have all kinds of sneakers. And we receive many different people with different style, so we have diversity depending on the style. I think that in Chile it's good that we have diversity in culture being combined, each one with the other. Then we can understand that in the end we all together. One word, cool.
The truth is just that in a large-scale effect of all countries to the opening of trade, I will give you a fact. In the 90s, China considered Chile as a platform to get inside America because of geography, give us a lot of way out to the rest of America and they wanted to use Chile as a platform. So since then here is an opening both commercial and idiosyncrasy of the Asian countries to ours and America. Well, I think that it has been beneficial to know other cultures is always good. And the Asian culture, because of its antiquity, offers a lot of things beside its culture and also in the economic.
The Asian culture from a more commercial vision will show to the world from the 20th century with the arrival of Japanese cartoon, best known as anime, that in 1913 became an alternative format of storytelling. Over the years, the Japanese anime began to take more and more force, bringing out the Asian culture phenomenon, new musical and dressing style, and then the emerging new genres and subcultures. Particularly in Chile and Latin America, the Asian boom lay very strong between the decade 90 and 2000. In 1917, there was increase in the popularity of Japanese comic, known as manga. Um, in this is what I have in my hand. This is a typical manga, typical black and white manga. Unlike a normal book, this start backward. You have to read from right to left. And here I have another manga. It is bigger and has color.
I think that in one side it's good because more Japanese fans come to Chile, and that's good. But in the other side, there are people that like the style, but they see it as a fashion. Then we are all inside the same bag, and it's massive. For example, I like it since a long time ago. I don't mind if other people like it, but I would like them to be informed about it. That is what I care about more than anything, that they know what they like and that is not a fashion.
Well, we are in Santiago Centro, walking in Paseo Mala to finally bring you here, the Galería Comercial Eurocentro. This building was very popular among teenagers fond of Japanese culture during the years 2006 and 2008. They meet outside this place to talk and socialize with each other. I'm sure that many young people of our generation, when they were children, they had their first Atari or Sega consoles, their first Game Car or Pokemon, album of their favorite series, or minifigures of ninjas. Well, in this gallery, you can find all these things and more. From poster of your anime character to K-pop singer, even giant teddies or small keychains with figures of anime.
Well, I think that is good because many teenagers or kids, instead of using drugs, staying on the street violence, they prefer to be in their houses quiet, watching TV, enjoying because in some way it makes them closer to the family. By the fact of being at home and not outside losing themselves, getting high or in the worst of the cases being killed, raped or sold. Well, that is my point of view. Also, I think that it's better than other style cause it's still present in contrast to other styles. And interpersonal, well, this helped me a lot because watching an anime it's not just watching cartoons. For example, Dragon Ball taught me self-improvement. Watching Hunter x Hunter taught me that no matter what your friend is going through, he is your friend and you need to support him on the good and the bad. It depends on the point of view. Mine is that each anime lifts a teaching. There are not just cartoons like most of people think.
For me, it's important the Japanese culture because for me, anime series is like an important part of my life and my childhood. And then with anime series, we can learn a lot of Japanese culture, like their language, their own stories, myths, or legends. And for that is important to me because I like Japan in general.
Today, I'm going to talk about otaku events, where
every Japanese culture fans go. In the event, we can find different urban tribes inspired in the Asian culture. For example, otakus, lolitas, cosplayers, and more. In the events, the teenagers have the chance to present choreographies with the dance group. And also, they can play some songs with their bands. And they make this just for love to art. In the stand, we can find different things to buy. Many sellers are also graphic designers who makes people's portraits for money.
Hello, I'm here today in the event Anilive, one of the most massive in Santiago, where people, especially youngest, come to have fun. Here you can find a variety for products for sale, for example, anime DVDs, toys, dresses. Some people also come here to cosplay, which is dressing up like a character. You can also find delicious Japanese food, cosplayer teams, and girls groups.
Well, I think that the Asian culture has introduced itself to the country in a massive way through the typical food that they have, for example, sushi. It's good to have diversity in culture referring to gastronomy, and I think that it gives a big diversity in the country.
If we talk about the food in Chile, it's important to mention how the food is combined by two cultures, Chinese culture and North American. So here we have some example of the Chinese food. We have teriyaki balls, soya, wonton, and arrollado primavera. Arrollado is a clear example of the mix of both cultures. In China, this is not eat it fried, but they eat it in the soup. Not like us, as we eat it fried like North America. In the 19th century, political trouble, revolution, and wars affected the migration to Chinese people to Latin America. That means all the culture, like values, beliefs, and obviously the food. Chinese and Japanese people went to Peru. They suffer slavery and pain, so they decide to come to Chile looking for freedom and a safe place. The first place that they began to sell their own food is Tarapacá. So when they became more popular, they spread the food around the country.
I think that the Japanese culture has been stuck in the same, and now Korea is taking more force because of what is called the white wave. They made their own publicity getting out of the country to show the world their music, and they came to Chile with things like the K-pop and dramas, which is something new and different from the usual Japanese thing that we have, such as anime and manga.
We can see the big pop culture that they have too. For example, Korea has a big music influence in Chile. It has entered in many countries, including Chile, with all their music, and they have the advantage that the pop music is similar to ours, so it catches the attention even of the language barrier it's entered because of the sound. So stores like this have the chance to enter to the business. Even if the Japanese culture has been part of our country for many years, the Korean industry has taken a very important paper in Chile. At different to Japan, it's massified in Chile in the 2012 with the famous song Gangnam Style.
Oppan Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style.
This song of PSY gave pass to numerous South Korean bands that came to revolutionize our country. A very important band of boys is Super Junior. But the girls are protagonists too, with bands like Girls' Generation and 21.
I got a boy 멋진, I got a boy 착한, I got a boy.
As it affirmed a journalist of University of Chile, Korea has been so smart to take advantage of the mass media to improve itself across the world, appearing in a showy form, combining their culture with American influence and making this more commercial. One of the most known dorama in Chile is Boys Over Flowers, who was transmitted in Mega Channel, just like another who was transmitted in etc. channel who belong to Mega.
As conclusion, with this documentary, we can now see that the Asian culture has a really big influence here in Chile, and it means that this culture adds to the country a really big diversity in things that have to do with thoughts, acceptation, and different ways of life. And we can understand now that the Asian culture has a big paper here in the country because we had it even unconsciously, and we are living with it day by day. So finally we can see the importance of it and we can enjoy it.
¿Qué opina usted de la masificación de la cultura asiática aquí en Chile?
Está fome no. Está fome no.
¿Por qué?
Ahí ustedes tienen que usar corrige porque.
Yay. La falta. El foto no, pues cochino bien.
Ah bueno. Ya. No. Ya. No. Ya. No.